Twisted Morals. Written and created by Jasper BlackLace. Audio by Koushi. Chapter 1. Sage's Perspective. Breaking news. The factory, known to many as Merchandising Medical Inc., has been in hot water over the past 24 hours. Yesterday evening, police reported that an employee noticed a tank set to be disposed of due to imbalanced chemicals that weren't up to their expectations was cracked and leaking an extremely toxic chemical mixture into the grate below that connects to a company-only water supply. This makes the risk to locals here in Herons non-existent. The chemicals are a mix of experimental medical herbs that an employee made a mistake when combining them, making them very toxic to the public. However, with it being leaked into our personal water system, the damage is limited to the MMI company only. This alone is why we kept it in this specific location. You've heard it here, folks. We haven't the slightest thing to worry about. Yours truly, Michael Mason. To think even the famous MMI could have such a blunder. There hasn't been news about this company since it took off here in Herons about 8 years ago and has been the economy's biggest boost since 2021. With it being now 2060, it's been quite the jump since then. Our little town was bound to achieve something at some point. Too bad it wasn't the Herons Hawks winning the NHL, though. While I finished my coffee for the morning, I reached for my phone on a small wooden coffee table at my feet. It barely reaches to the middle of my shin, even so, it's all I could afford. Plus, with it being made by my niece, I can't complain. Ding, ding. My phone chimes with my 6:30 a.m. reminder to get ready for work. I need to change my background. I grumble while glancing for a mere second at my wedding photo from 6 years ago. She left me, and yet I still cherish this photo so much. I can't believe we split only a year ago now. I hoist myself to my feet, grab my repulsively shiny shoes and my suit jacket before dragging myself out the front door of the house I once shared with Melody. While backing away from the house in my 2059 Chevy, I began my 20-minute drive to the office where I run my team. We're a publishing company known as Heron's Local Publisher. Not a very fancy name, of course. Anything fancier would be a disgrace to our hometown. It's odd. I've only been working here for 15 years, not very long in my opinion, but I have been given a promotion 3 times during this time. Once from an aide worker to an assistant. The next was assistant to supervisor, and just last month I was promoted to manager of B team and was given customary shares over the company. Only one step down from being a partner. Good morning, sir. A meek voice coming from the shadows as I exit my car in the parking garage below the company. Morning, Clementine. Did you finish your report of the reviews of Jordan Clark's newest novel? I need to submit the sales numbers in those reports by tonight to get another round of novels published. I glance over my shoulder at the pale girl standing head at my chest level, glancing down to the floor. I always question how she got this job being such a recluse. Her being added to my team as well just makes it so much worse. If I can't hold eye contact with someone, it makes me feel like a failure. It's probably just my pride, though. Her head raises, hazel blue eyes meeting my brown ones, as she gives me a small smile and nods. She hands me a file with the most delicate handwriting labeling each thing I asked for. How many times must I ask you to type out the information? You're lucky your writing is 100% legible. I say with a raspy sigh. I'm sorry, sir. I'll try better next time. She says the same thing every time, and yet she never fixes her behavior. I'm sure you will, I say harshly. A little more harsh than I wanted to, anyway. After parting ways, I made my way to my office and began filing all the information on my spreadsheets. All would be easier if she had emailed it to me. Even after complaining to my higher-ups, they still won't reprimand her. Doesn't help that her father is a partner in the company, of course. I guess you could say I don't like her. The only person she seems to talk to is a man from Team A named Kyle, I believe. They usually take off for lunch together. And that's most of the time, the last time I see her for the day, as she works upstairs with the media committee for the rest of her shift. Boss, we have an urgent email from Camilla. She says she will be late in handing in her cover art for her novel, as her artist works for the MMI company and is on cleanup duty. My head assistant says, quoting the most pathetic part of the sentence before placing my coffee on my desk with a scoff. I mean, can the timing be any more perfect? I say with a sigh into my hands, dreading the mass emails I will be sending to the production team, waiting on the cover art. I brush my hands down my face in protest as Clementine comes into the room with another file I asked her to retrieve before leaving for the day. Here you are, sir. Is there anything else I can do for you? She says, bowing slightly before backing away slowly. You know, Cleo, you could do with some more confidence, Parker says to her, walking to her side, towering over her left-hand side, and looking down at her with a seductive smile. Or, well, his attempt at one anyway. It's honestly just sad how bad he is at flirting. 3, 2, and 1. Ouch! A left elbow jab from Clementine sends Parker into a bent forward position, right hand on his side, walking away from her in defeat. Sir, she says, looking up at me with a kind smile, but a murderous look in her eyes. I seriously wonder if this kind and gentle self of hers is just an act. If looks could kill, she would have that down in a heartbeat. No, not today. Just make sure you're here early tomorrow. I need your help with the media group presentation for tomorrow afternoon. Camilla put a hold on that cover art, so I have to push for more time. And for some reason, that group just hates me, I say, returning her smile. My father would be the problem. Should I speak to him on your behalf? I love Camilla, and so does he. I should be able to handle it for you, if you let me, that is, she says, glancing to the floor for a split second, the fire dying in her eyes simultaneously. You know what? Sure. I'll let you give it a try. I have so much else to do anyway. I have to make a spreadsheet of that information you gave me and such. I say sarcastically, too tired to deal with her connections, and frankly extremely annoyed at the work I'm doing that she should have done. Sir, with all due respect, have you ever stopped to consider why I handwrite everything? She says, resting her hands at her sides, lifting her head swiftly in challenge, and for some reason I took to her brazen accusations and returned the gesture. By all means, Cleo. I say this purposefully, using the name only Parker uses to show her I mean business, and this could turn ugly. My raising to my feet should have been enough, however. I don't see why my writing it down instead is such a problem anyway. As you've said many times, it's 100% legible, meaning it shouldn't be this much of a problem. Besides, it's not like any of your complaints have made a difference now, has it? Her tone is solid and unwavering, and the darkness in her eyes returns, but burns even more. Honestly, Cleo, that's only due to your connections to the company, is it not? And it's a problem because it causes more work for me to have to type it all out each time. I say with a gruff tone in response. I cross my arms over my chest and continue. We're way past the wax tablets and stone days, and frankly, everything I need has to be electronic, or it's a waste of my time. So please, Clementine, enlighten me about your struggles of using a keyboard and mouse. My response is direct and to the point, and it only serves to silence the vibrant and unruly storm behind her eyes. If you must know, Sage. She lets my name drift off her tongue ever so coldly as she walks towards me, looking up at me in the eyes. Not that it's any of your business. I have an eye condition that gets worse when I look at screens or if I'm out in the sun too frequently. If you ever noticed, I have a flip phone with a yellow light behind the screen. My desk is also in the darkest corner of the office with 0 lights above it. I also don't ever use a computer here without sunglasses on. And frankly, I don't ever use a computer unless it's to send an email. I guess my comfort at work isn't your problem then? It's a surprise, really. Considering the company policy for disabilities and personal struggles is a top priority at the company, as it's why 80% of our sponsors are companies and charities that focus on the well-being of such people. Her gaze hardens, but the storm behind them is completely gone. She steps back before turning from me. And by the way, ever heard of scanning a document to your computer? Oh wait, maybe it's too, what did you say? Past the wax tablets and stone stage? Her words were direct and powerful. My jaw dropped as she vanished from sight. Well, now I'm fucked. My hand brushes through my loose hairs. As her boss, I am meant to uphold the standards of the company policies, and if I'm not quick to resolve this, my promotion will be stripped in a heartbeat. As the day continues, I make phone call after phone call to get Camilla's request under control and compile the information to talk to the committee tomorrow morning. Ring, ring, ring. The office phone rings a mere 5 minutes before I'm set to leave for the day. My patience is running thin, but I answer it regardless. Sage speaking. How may I help you? I say monotone and completely uninterested. Hello, Sage. A dark and powerful voice interacts with me through the phone line. It's her father. Hello, sir. How can I assist you this evening? I straighten my posture as I wipe the sweat threatening to drip down my brow. Not much, my boy. My daughter came to me earlier today to talk to me about Camilla asking for an extension on her cover art. Is this accurate? Yes, sir. She called me this morning about her artist being involved with the MMI cleanup and needing more time. I was finishing up the paperwork for tomorrow's meeting. Oh boy, that won't be necessary. My daughter and I love her writing so much. Be sure to give her as long as she needs. I will contact the head director and we'll get it sorted out with the media next week before pre-launch release. Just get home and get some rest. I will call you tomorrow. Good night, Sage. He hung up before I could respond. My adrenaline kicks in and my mind goes into overdrive. I rush out the room, barely grabbing my cell phone as I run to the media floor to find Clementine. I witness her talking to Kyle as I rush up behind her, glaring down at the two of them. Clementine, may we speak for a moment before you leave this evening? I gesture to the conference room behind us to the right, and her eyes follow my hand. Okay. She turns to Kyle, resting her hand on his shoulder, giving him a nod. See ya, Clem, he says, looking at me with a direct line of hatred and retreating to the elevator to leave the premises. After he left, she led the way, scanning her company ID to enter the conference room. The room is filled with a dark oak table stretching 15 feet down to the whiteboard. The chairs were the classic black leather office chairs with the company logo on the back of each chair. I have to clean this room anyway, so good timing, sir, she says, looking away from me, slowly tidying up the papers lining the table in unorganized chaos. I have to apologize to you. That's all I came to do, I said, looking at my shoes. I can't remember the last time I felt so bad about myself. Where's your cool and confident side from earlier, Sage? The dark and gloomy shit is creepy. Her sheepish giggle is enough to send a shiver down my spine and force my gaze to her. If I had any sense left in my body today, I'd be ignoring my sudden realization of her true beauty. The dark freckles that dance along the bridge of her nose, stretching across her cheekbones on both sides of her face. Her eyes are so transparent that it's difficult to understand her personality. She comes off as delicate and kind, and her eyes give you the sense of strength and pure expression. Her body is lined with contrast that suits her delicate bone structure. I really can't get a read on you, Clementine. I get the impression you are more than just a fragile and meek girl. My body abandons me and walks towards her at the head of the table, where she is putting away the files from the day and labeling the key information for each. I'm more than just a meek girl, Sage. I'm a woman. Her gaze reaches mine. I stand corrected once again. The tension screams at me to retreat. I might be single now, yes, but my heart is still Melody's. Before I have a chance to leave, I start to hear screaming coming from behind me outside the door. Oh my God. Clementine's voice shakes as she grabs a hold of my right hand and begins pulling me backwards towards the emergency exit door on the opposite side of the room. Fuck, what the hell is Jake doing to him? I exclaim, watching Jake lunge toward an intern I have not met yet. The only way I could tell was the uniform he wore. Jake grabs a hold of his shoulders and bites down on his collarbone and tears his neck back, ripping the flesh from his bones. Before I could see much more, I was being pulled out the back door, and we were running down the hall to the stairwell. Ding ding! I pull out my phone once we reach the door to the stairs and scan our way through. Hold on. It's an evacuation alert, I say, panting as we both bend over to catch our breath. Evacuation alert. Dear citizens of Herons, we are to evacuate our community as soon as possible. We were misinformed about the chemical leak. It's in all the water supply here in Herons. Those who have consumed tap water are turning mad and attacking one another. Do not engage! Evacuate immediately! Me and Clementine nod at each other and immediately make our way to the underground parking to get the fuck out of here. You have completed Twisted Morals Chapter 1. Written and created by Jasper BlackLace, audio by Kawushi. We'll see you next time.